Howdy, everybody. Bob Tallman for No Spin Rodeo. No politics, no BS, just hard-hitting news and rodeo commentary from two of the most trusted sources in our sport. Kendra Santos, Tommy Joe Lucia. Listen up. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 63 of No Spin Rodeo. My name is Tommy Joe Lucia. I'm joined with the First Lady of Pro Rodeo Journalism, the very famous Kendra Santos, who, if you're watching us live, is shifting right, shifting left. She's now centered up. And the Luke Skywalker of technical production in the sport of rodeo, Greg Teagarden. If you don't know who Luke Skywalker is, then you're just not old enough. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us live, thanks for being with us live on YouTube TV, or YouTube, excuse me, and Facebook Live. And if you're listening to the podcast, like all of you have for so long, thank you very much. Can't believe we're 63 into it. Hello, crew. We'll kick off with Kendra. Where are you at? What you doing, Kendra?
I'm home, and I'm thrilled to be home. And we just celebrated Father's Day. All of it. I mean, everybody just celebrated Father's Day, and it was a great day for us. And naturally, I kind of miss my dad extra. But what's cool about our dads that were with us a long time that are gone is like by now we know what they would say or do in any situation, and that's really super cool. And so for me now, my greatest joy on Father's Day is seeing my sons be amazing dads. That's really amazing. So happy Father's Day to you guys. I hope you had a great day with family.
I did, Greg. What'd you do on Father's Day?
Unfortunately, my flight got delayed and I didn't get to have dinner with my daughter.
Oh,
So we are making it up and going to do something later this week. So I'm happy about it, but sad because we didn't get to, connect.
yeah, but that's kind of the life of all of us circus vagabond rodeo people. They do get used to you having to celebrate on a different day. Um, Father's Day was cool. I've got two really. I'm very very proud of both my boys, Nick and Chase. But I sent to Anthony and Dominic, um, my brothers. I sent them just random. I had a video on my phone of my dad, Tommy Lucia, and this was when he was in the retirement home and aging. And he had called me up one morning and he said, "Tommy Joe, I just want you to come get me out of this home. I just want to come mow." I said, "What, Dad?" "So I just want to get on a lawnmower and mow." And it just ripped my guts out, right? So I went and got him and put him on a lawnmower there at our house. And there he goes on his zero turn. Probably not the safest thing to do right then in his health. But I did a quick video of it, him circling a tree and putting around on the Kubota zero turn, and I shared it. I sent it to Dominic and Anthony and said, "There's Pops on the mower." And so a lot of good memories. So happy Father's Day to all of you that are fathers out there. And if you're not a father, you ought to consider it. If you're if you're going to if you're going to be a good father, otherwise don't do it. Anyway, so here we go. Good afternoon, everybody, and kind of went around the table and just wanted to see, Kendra, you got any what's up in the rodeo world for us, and then we'll get started with feedback. We're going to rename it, but feedback. But what's going on in the rodeo world? I know it's the CNFR. I think what we got coming up. We've got Reno, Pinoca, Snake River, Greeley. All those are coming up. But right now, the CNFR seems to be probably. I mean, there's other rodeos going on. I think the my hometown, Weatherford, Texas, the Parker County Sheriff's Posse. If you haven't ever been there, the best part of the rodeo is all 75 of the Sheriff's Posse riding out and figuring out which one might fall off in the grand entry and how bad it might hurt them. I'm sorry to take your time, Kendra. What's going on in the rodeo world?
Yes, the College National Finals Rodeo. It's been a huge one for my family. We had the biggest blast at that rodeo, and so I'm so excited for all the families. I mean, that's like where generations of rodeo families go and spend a week where you're watching the kids at the rodeo, but you're going to the softball tournament, and people are going on special little, you know, fly fishing trips or different things. It's a big time. And so on Sunday, on Father's Day, we're recording this on Tuesday the 17th, but on Sunday the 15th, they kicked it off with Bulls, Bronx, and Breakaway Day, and ran the first round in 4 events. And so I, you know what? Am I all messed up, Greg? Am I messed up? I keep moving.
No,
Is it
you're
okay?
fine. You're fine.
Okay, good deal. All right. So anyway, so if I'm saying this correctly, we better start learning the name Cooper. Is it Philippek?
Yep.
Philippek or Philippek? Anyway, he won the first round of the bareback riding for Gillette College, 82 and a half. Interesting to me to see Bradley Miller, who's the world standings leader and rodeos for Coach Bubba Miller, his dad at Sam Houston State, split second and in that first round with Trevor Kay from the University of Montana Western. It's pretty cool to see a world standings leader, gunning at the CNFR at the same time, and it certainly wouldn't be the first time. Amy Ort of Wharton County Junior College was 1-8 to win the first round of the breakaway on Sunday. And let's see. Okay, here's another name that I do not know how to spell this. The winner of the first round of the CNFR in the bronc riding, Blake, Steuck. Is it Stuck? Steck? Stiek? I'm not sure, but he's from Fort Scott Community College, 85 points. In the bull riding, Eli Higa, Higa, from Mid Plains Community College, won the first round. And Monday is like one of the ultimate, it was my favorite day at the college finals because it was all day slack, and um, they they ran an entire round in all the other events. And AC Pinkston from Southwest Texas College was 14:03 to win the first round of the barrel race. Tyler Calhoun, who we've been hearing a lot out in the PRCA world, won the first round of the calf rope, and he was also from Southwest Texas College. He was 8-3. Will Collier from Northwest Mississippi Community College was 3-8 to win the first round of the bulldogging. Macy Merrick won the first round of the goat tying. For Texas A&M University Commerce, she was 6 flat. And I'm just going to say that if the goat tying is not the most evolved in my lifetime event, I don't know which event it would be, because it's insane. And, that event did cost me my right knee, which is now titanium and all, but the athleticism of the young women in that event today is over the top. I mean, by the way, they're all doing, what would they call that in trick riding? They're hanging off the side at a dead run, the length of the arena basically, and stepping off just like almost like a bulldogger stepping off flat-footed. I mean, it's it's wild. It's amazing. The team roping. The first round was won by Cutter Kane from Southeastern Oklahoma State and Dace Morris from Western Oklahoma State College. I will mention before, because something just right before we went on air just a few minutes ago, round 2 rolled in from today, Tuesday. And so I'm going to whip through that. But I wanted to mention for people who are wanting to watch it, it's not just as easy as flipping on the Cowboy Channel. They tell me it's on ESPN3, and you can also watch it on the ESPN app. And so perfs only. But those start tonight, Tuesday, June 17th. So ESPN3 or the ESPN app. So I'm gonna try to check that out after we get out of here. But this Cooper Philippek strikes again. He was 82 and a half in the second round. He won the second round also. So he's won in the bareback riding. He's won both rounds so far. So this is, by the way, a 3-round rodeo. Um, Adrian Stefan from Cal Poly and Kate Island from Pearl River Community College split round 2 in the breakaway with 1-9. Waitley Sharon from Tarleton State won the second round of the saddle bronc riding with 84 points. Jacob Wang from the University of Wyoming was 4-2 to win the second round of the bulldogging. And cool to me, Jacob Wang is the son, remember, Cal Poly Mustang steer wrestling stud. You won't remember that, but his dad, Dean Wang, also was an NFR steer wrestler. So it's fun to see a next generation kid like this. Winning the second round of the calf roping is Slade Wood from Southwest Texas College, 8-1. And he's been to the national final steer roping more than once and is a very strong steer roper, but fun to see him. I know I've seen him in the calf roping and the team roping at the college finals. So there's that. Kristen Reeves from Sam Houston State was 5-8 to win the second round of the goat tying. And Marcus Marriott from Blue Mountain and Eric Champneys from Treasure Valley Community College were 4-9 to win round 2 in the team roping. Annalise McMurray from Montana State, 14 flat to win round 2 in the barrel race. And in the bull riding, it was a 1-2 split between Brad Marino of New Mexico State and Jay Rodrigue from Pearl River Community College with 84. So far so good. Now is when it's just perfs. After Tuesday, it just goes straight perfs. And so we also did, I would mention, because which we'll get, I think we have a feedback on some rodeos changing dates, but we had a changing of the guard in the announcers of the college finals, right? I know Steve Kenyon's there. Boyd Paul Hamas was there forever, and I think he made a switch with with one of these other rodeos. I'm not even sure which one. Isn't that right?
I didn't know that. So Boyd's not there?
Boyd's not there, and I know Steve Kenyon's there, and I'm not sure who else is there, but we'll find out tonight. So. Anyway, so I feel like you had some things you wanted to talk about too. I just college finals is a spectacular family.
So a couple things off of your heels, and then I've got a few things. Goat tying. I can't wait, and you've heard me say this before. I can't wait till someone publishes the book, The Diaries of a Rodeo Goat, and just what that goat's thinking when the person's doing the suicide drag coming at him 35 miles an hour. Again, maybe I'll write that kid's book, The Diary of the Rodeo Goat. Goat in the wrong, everybody wants to be the goat, but you don't want to be the goat tying goat. You want to be rodeo goat and everything else, but you don't, oh, forget it. I'm straying. We were Thursday, this is kind of interesting, going back to the college finals. Thursday, Greg and I were at the PBR Chevron Showdown, a Texas Rattlers PBR event in Odessa, Texas. And it's unique. It's kind of a training camp event, but what's unique about it is the Nashville Stampede came in, the Odessa College fields a team, and then the Rattlers field a team. Now, these teams for Nashville and the Rattlers, as a whole, I think are kind of, it's teams bull riding, and there's fans and non-fans of that. But I think it's some of the new guys. They're looking at the new guys. It's like a training camp. But these Odessa kids have their own team of bull riders. And they come in there, there's pyro, there's lights, there's about 4,000 people there, a Dwight Yoakam concert, big event with Chevron. But here's what I thought was interesting. The Rattlers did win the event. They had more qualified rides, more aggregate totals. But the Odessa College team actually got second over Nashville Stampede. And it is interesting because you can tell because I'm kind of shoot boss there, I bark at those kids, and these are a little bit ranker bulls than they're used to getting on in the college pen, and they packed all up. Coach Tom Kelly packed up from the Odessa College, and they overnighted it heading to the college finals. So I did think, congratulations, hats off to them. They rode bulls good on some ranked bulls, so I thought that was pretty cool. The other stuff that I had that I thought was interesting, Rank 45, which is Western Apparel, and I'm not sure who owns Rank 45, but they're Western Apparel. They're featured primarily, I think, at Shepler's and Boot Barn. Looked at some of their stuff. I would wear some of it. I don't know what their pants are. I'm pretty picky on my pants. Um, but rank 45 and the PRCA just came to an agreement that they're now of the title sponsor of X Bulls and X Bronx. And I got to thinking, I guess there's not an X bareback because they don't think they have enough bareback riders. I mean, there's bareback riding events, but I have not seen the X Bears yet. But a title sponsorship, and I understand this is a big sponsorship, and it's lots of money. Rank 45 is the title, and like this means like $10,000 of money, sponsorship money to every Division One X Bulls event. I don't know the exact numbers to the committees, which we know that'll go into prize money. But that's cool. That's cool that there's some money being put in to the X Bulls and the X Bronx. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool. Just a note, side note, the Bill Pickett Invitational, Juneteenth in Fort Worth, they celebrate. We're a part of the Bill Pickett event at the National Western. It's very family. It's very cool. They're very proud of their heritage with the Bill Pickett Rodeo and some really talented cowboys and cowgirls in that. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up, because I think it kind of gets overlooked, Matt LaCroix, you may not know his name, but he heads up Heston and their relationship in rodeo. And you see Heston in the fan zone at the NFR, Heston tractors, but they have something that I think this might be their ninth year, but it's really cool. And if our fans didn't know about it, because we have people that are on rodeo committees that listen to us, they have a Sowing Good Deeds Award. And what it is it's an application on the Massey Ferguson website, and you go in and you apply as a rodeo committee, or you put in an application for Sowing Good Deeds, and it's basically the charitable contributions of rodeo committees in their community. And I don't know how they win or lose, but you fill out this application on the Massey Ferguson site, and then they announce the finalist, and the applications are open. So if your rodeo does a lot for charity, go to the Massey Ferguson site and fill this in. It's the Sowing Good Deeds Award. And so they'll announce the finalist, and then at the awards banquet um, at the NFR in Las Vegas, we'll announce the winner. We've been fortunate enough to produce the awards banquet for the PRCA. But here's the deal: the winner gets a brand new Massey Ferguson tractor with a front end loader on it, a $60,000 brand new. They just send them the tractor and the keys for this. And, last year, I think Salinas won it. The year before, Gunnison, Colorado. Go Gunnison. Love Gunnison, Colorado. And then Reno before that. But it's cool to see, you've got Salinas and Reno, and in the middle, Gunnison, Colorado. So a lot of different size of events. But this is a cool thing. And thanks to Matt and the Heston guys, because this is a cool thing for rodeo committees. So if your rodeo committee does a lot of good, jump in there and apply. I think this Sowing Good Deeds is a really cool thing. So that's the rodeo news.
I would love to add also to, because it just happened over the weekend. I know I'm sort of random, but they had the 15th and last Chris Ledoux days in his
Yeah, I saw
hometown,
that. I saw
Casey
that.
Whiteman. And I thought it was, Chris, I had like over 5 million people have jumped in our rodeo family and tried to help this little baby that's looking for a liver transplant. His name's Bodie Lane Phillips. But then, here right at the exact same time, here is Chris Ledoux's, last hurrah. His family decided, that's good. They worked so hard on that event. And it was a great, final hurrah. But it, here's this little baby that we're trying to help, and so many people are really doing so much to help. But Chris Ledoux had a liver transplant, and then 5 years later died of bile duct cancer, I believe it was, and that's a related problem with this little baby Bodie. And so, um, anyway, I know that a lot of kids on their way to the college finals, went and competed at that event. And I know that like they had Sawyer Brown and some, Ned Ledoux and had a heck of a concert. But by all accounts, tiny little Casey, Wyoming was booming, and
Yeah.
it was really a cool, you know, Chris would have been very, very pleased, I'm sure. And the one time that I've been to Casey twice, but one time I got to go out during the college finals to Chris and Peggy's, and to see that Powder River where he sat there and wrote songs, and to see, Rodeo Rose that they traveled in and all that. It was really, I'll never forget that. So anyway, the Ledoux family has really done an amazing job of carrying on Chris's legacy in a very proud way, I think.
Yeah, I'm proud because my very first event that I ever produced, I was 18 years old, and it was for the Tarleton State Plowboys in Stephenville at Tarleton State University, where I was going to school. And I created an event called Bull Fest. And this was kind of like standalone bull ridings were just starting. Did a bullfight on my own with Rex Dunn, but we had Chris Ledoux in concert. And Chris, because I called Chris and I said, "Hey, I'm just starting this event. I'm 18. I don't have any money, but I'll give you all the money that we sell." And he said, "Just don't worry about it. I'll come. Here's my standard fee." Well, he pulls in a 1980 Winnebago mini motorhome. Like these are, I think they make cast iron cars out of them now. But this little bitty motorhome. He pulls right up at the office, pulls out his lawn chair, sit down. We visit for 20 or 30 minutes. He puts on an amazing concert, right, for these Stephenville college kids. I'm talking about he was more passionate on stage than anybody you've ever seen. And a side note, I've always listened to Chris Ledoux. Like it's because it's so real, it's so authentic music. It was written from a guy that did it. And Asher, my grandson, when he gets in the car seat, he says, "Tumps, play Cadillac Ranch." And his first 4 or 5 songs, by the way, are Chris Ledoux songs. Cadillac Ranch, This Old Hat. I mean, those are the first. Then we go into Blippi's Excavator song. But just so you know, Chris Ledoux is at the top of this 3-year-old's list of cowboy songs. So great family.
He's a timeless classic.
Yep, yep, absolutely.
And
good.
also the 1976 world champion bareback rider. I mean,
Long-legged. Bobby Moat. There's long-legged bareback riders. RC. That's a whole different style. And I can't imagine how hard it is to ride bareback horses with really long legs. Like, if you look at Rocker, I mean, his legs are what, 2.5 feet long or something? I mean, he's stout and quack, 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 and those guys. But when you see those long legged guys, you're talking about long spur strokes. And for those guys to get those noodles to the front of the horse at the right time is talent, is
well,
definitely talent.
it's not just a long spur stroke. It's like when they set their feet, they're setting their feet into air.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
A
just
lot of air. A lot of air. And talking about bareback riding, so Tilden Hooper, Tilden, I see you on broadcast. Thought you retired, but now you're sitting 12th in the world. This must be like a George Strait retirement. These guys retire, but they don't really retire. But I hear he's riding really good. He won Park County Sheriff's Posse Rodeo, I think. That's right. He's won a few rodeos, setting 12th. And I love Tilden. I really do. Tilden's one of my favorite humans. He's real. He's there. If you don't really want to know what he thinks, you better not ask him. That's my kind of people. So
well, Tilden, I mean, how much fun did he and Casey Field have? And by the way, like they both came back for the American this year,
yeah.
And then I don't know who Tilden's running with now, but Tilden Hooper and Casey Field, there was nothing better than watching the two of those guys park in front of the Thomas and Mack and make their way in, because they were laughing, belly laughing the whole way, and it was very animated and fun. So anyway,
And
it's a tough act.
I'm not the timey of us, really. I'm not as versed as you are. But because I don't want to go down this road, maybe we'll have an episode on this. Team ropers changing partners. That's especially like after some success, is that usually relationship driven? Can it be driven by, a bad run and they just got to think they changed it just every time there's a partner change, like I read that Squeeze it, there's a partner change there. I think he's with his brother-in-law, which those two
Trying to
girls.
walk into a booby trap right now.
No, then don't answer. But I do often wonder. I do often wonder that. I mean, I know the two girls. So my wife Donna went to high school with Mary, whose daughters I believe are married to both those guys now, or to the two that are teamed up. But don't get me lying. But it just is. It's always a phenomenal. It's an interesting thing to me, like a whole interesting dynamic of the sport, and that's this changing partners game, right? And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
probably a whole
And
episode.
historically, it would be a fun episode because historically, like I've done stories on like the best lines on, when you're gonna. Historically, there have been certain times when there were swaps. Like after the spring run, and then maybe after Dodge City, and some guys went home and all that kind of stuff. But some of the lines, where a guy would say, yeah, I'm gonna go home, and that's how he let the guy down. And then 2 weeks later he shows up with somebody else or whatever. But you know, there are more factors in 2025, and I think finances is it's another factor that
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think was as much of a factor as way back as it is in some cases today. So
yeah. That makes sense. Well, we better roll on. So we're going to go into feedback. Kendra doesn't like the name feedback, so we're going to call it AKA Yells BS.
well, it could be something as simple as like no spinners speak or something. Like we love hearing from people. Totally appreciate people bringing up things that they care about and are very happy to use our access to try to find answers every chance we get. And
See,
so
that's so classic us. You want to name it No Spinners Speak. I want to name it Yells BS. Like that's like shows us, right? Well, okay, we'll
it's
call it whatever.
it's for giving people a voice, and we appreciate them so much for using their voice, and people really do use it. That's great. So anyway,
Well, let's
let's
go
talk
now
things.
to our listeners' quality content captions. Greg, will you read us the first one? Let's see what we got. And by the way, everybody, there's a couple of these that we're going to hit, but we're probably going to be done with them after this because I've already waved a white flag. But go ahead, Greg.
All right.
Go with the first one.
So the first one is from Salinas, California. Episode 62 with the one and only Bobby T is the best one yet. I cannot thank you enough for having him on your podcast. I can't wait for Kendra and the other lady to write his book.
You didn't know you were writing his book till he said that, right?
That was
Surprise.
he dropped a bomb. Yeah, that was
I just would not fact check his book because that ought to be interesting. Because you never know where Bob's going, right? So
Don't you think he has a license? He has creative license, and it's to infinity and beyond.
yeah,
He
yeah.
earned
Well,
it. Good for him.
yep. And Bobby T, if you haven't heard that episode, go back and watch it. He's filled with, and we have some out clips of him that I remember when John Brill on the Piranha team did them and sent them to Bob. He said, "Don't show anybody those," and then he let us play them. So you might want to jump on and watch that episode. It's a good one.
Yeah, Bob was a great sport.
62 was, yes.
What do we got?
All right, from the 613 regarding conversation on ties, you're talking timed events.
Oh.
Let your viewers know in rough stock judged events, there is always going to be ties with the way rough stock is scored. Thanks for all you guys do in your podcast.
That I'm fine with ties. Okay, I agree. Let there be ties. I don't agree. I think there should be a winner. But you're right. In the scored events, there's ties, and there should be ties in the timed event. It's just I don't believe, and this is the last time in the way we can time things now. If it's a tie, it can be a tie in a millisecond. Putting aside the human error. My point is technology has went a long way from a red flag and a bucket and a finger. But that's neither here nor there. I will not. I give up. Let's have ties and timed events forever. Kendra?
And my just final standing comment is that the reason ties are cool to contestants as far as they're concerned is because their number one priority is that the payoff is right, and ties are a more fair way to pay off the money in the contestant's viewpoint. So we can keep moving.
Okay, because you said that, I'm going to skip to the next feedback, which is again about ties. And I think this person makes a really good point. From Facebook, fans aren't paying the entry fees, buying horses, and all the other expenses. The contestants are. They deserve to tie if it's that close, and there can be thousands of dollars at stake between first and second. And why let it come down to human reaction? Who gets more money than the other? And fans really could care less one way or the other if there's a tie. They just want to watch a rodeo. I think he said it right there when it says human error to, decide who gets the more money. I think that's kind of the over, the kind of the gist of the whole thing here.
Yes,
Yep.
and which episode did we beat that horse to death? Was it
No,
episode 60 or 61? Whatever it
Yeah.
was. Anyway. Okay.
I stand
All right.
down. That's fine.
All
That's
right,
cool.
going back. Another one from Facebook. Bob Tallman, a dear friend, will never be duplicated by other announcers. He inspired all of them to be better and have a little of his voice and knowledge. I love No Spin. Thank you.
You know what? And I think this is fantastic. Bob Tallman is one of a kind, and he is a true trailblazer. And his impact will be felt from now on down the line. Just kind of like we recently talked about Roy Cooper's, the influence he's had on roping will go on forever and be carried on down the line. Same with Bob Tallman.
Well, and it cracks me up because the new announcers, they watch millions of Bob Tallman tapes. And when I hear a new announcer and I listen to new announcers to see, I want to be the first to bring someone up that's really good. And boy, you can hear where they've been practicing their Bob Tallman. And that's quite a compliment. That's quite a compliment to Bob. It's irritating to all of us that get copied. Been there, done that, but that's quite a compliment. So he is the very best, and he's a good human, and he loves his family and rodeo. And I mean, what else could you want?
He hasn't lost his passion.
No, not at all. And he made it clear he is not retiring, people. He may not be doing Fort Worth. He's doing a different role there or doing some other stuff, but he's not retiring. So how dare you say that? All right, no spin. Here we go. Any more, Greg?
Yep, a couple more. This one's from the 805. Where are the timies in this year's World All Around race?
Good one.
Okay. Well, they're they're kind of conceding to Stetson Wright. How's that for being blunt? Um, this is deja vu, the Ty Murray and Trevor Brazil days, right? I mean, Joe Beaver and Fred Whitfield and guys like that, they didn't jump in with both feet into the all-around race if, you know, if Ty was out there. But when he went down for a shoulder or a knee surgery, they all caught a gear in the all-around race. And, Trevor went unchallenged for years, in large part because here's the thing about the all-around race. It doesn't really make financial sense if you do not have a legit shot at being number one in the all around or being in the top 15 in all of your events. For example, keeping other horses out there on the road, scheduling rodeos is so much harder when you have to do, and I'll say this. I just looked today and Stetson Wright, before Reno is closing in on 200 grand. Okay. $171,000. Second is Wacy Shawla, who's also number one in the bull riding with about 124 grand. Okay, so those guys, they're eyeing down 200,000, and we haven't gotten to Reno yet. Third place in the all-around race has half of what Wacy Shawla has in second, right? It's like 62,000 for Seth Hall. Well, so without even asking him, Seth Hall is trying to make his first NFR in the calf roping. So he's fifth in the world right now. That is job one, without a doubt. If he has a chance to, jump in or maybe even fill in the team roping here or there, but when it comes to, possible charters or anything like that over the fourth, the tie down and getting to the NFR for the first time in his career is first, and also financially prudent, because for him to enter 2 or 3 events, Stetson and Wacy have just such a commanding lead that is not, because if you win third in the world all around race, congratulations, but you don't get anything for it. So
Yeah.
you have to make it make sense as you go.
Yep. I'm with you. Yeah, I don't really have any comments. Stetson it's just a power. He's a power. Wacy's dominating, right? And dominating in riding bulls. So again, they're about to hit the time that stretches the rope, so to speak. This is where you better physically and mentally be ready for the grueling summer run, right? Now Stetson, he's got years under his belt, so he knows what he's got in front of him, and he's just so darn good. It's just the truth. He's fun to watch, and he's good. And so yeah, that's a great feedback. I love those kind of feedbacks. What do we got next? Oh,
well, before we skip to that though, I did see something the other day that got a lot of chatter is not the right word. Got a lot of people's hackles up in different directions. Ted Noose, the 1985 world champion bull rider, he put up a basic comment on Facebook where he was saying, it is so silly that Stetson Wright, which now it's going to be moot going into the summer run where it's not all these limited rodeos, but he's like, for him to have to sit out of any rodeos because he was hurt last year, Ted News was saying, I think that is silliness. And people were like, you're damn right. That is, so ridiculous. And then other people on the other flip side were like, hey, there's rules in place and they apply to everybody equally. So, whatever. Not to mention, we've mentioned before that Stetson was savvy enough to walk up her place at some of the winter rodeos and different things. But I thought it was an interesting read of comments.
yeah, I have two different emotions on this. From a producer standpoint, I want Stetson everywhere. But I think from a league standpoint, from an association standpoint, part of success in this business is having success, right? Making your first win, your first second, your first third, believing that you can win, because they say it's between your ears as much as it's anywhere in any of the disciplines. So giving these other guys an opportunity to excel, or let Stetson just whip up on him like he did. I mean, look where he's at. It didn't take him long. He's back. So the cream. I don't care what you say, what your format is, how you want to rebake the wheel, how you want to change this or change that. The best guys win, right? The best guys win on a consistent basis, and that's Stetson Wright. So that's my last little note on that one. Anything else on that feedback, Kendra?
Oh, good.
All right, all right. What do we got next?
From the 208, what's up with Vernal and Nampa changing their dates and being in June this year?
Well, I can't speak for them, but this whole Pioneer Week thing in Utah, where there's, you know, over $2 million to be won in 100 miles. I think it's just sometimes some of these rodeo committees change their dates because the competition for the Cowboys at that time becomes so extreme that they need to make a move. Right now, I'm not saying I am not speaking for Vernal Nampa. I have not had time. It's the first time I've seen the comment to check into exactly why they did. But I can tell you historically, you see some of these really good rodeos move around their dates a little bit to try to make it easier in the Cowboys schedule and to get the good guys there. And I think the Cowboys appreciate that, and so do the fans. So
Yeah, I okay, so Vernal, the dinosaur roundup, um, it's my understanding that part of their decision to move to June was avoiding scheduling conflicts for the contestants with like Calgary and the NFR Open in Colorado Springs. And then the 110th annual Snake River Stampede in Nampa. Well, I know that it historically always conflicted with Salinas for starters. And so um, I thank you and congratulations to them for also coming with a record prize money this year. That's very, very cool. Always appreciated by all of us. But I think my understanding, I kind of looked into it quickly here, that they were both scheduling conflicts was kind of key in their decision making, and it makes sense.
scheduling for contestants, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you got a pool of the top 30 that are quality for a show, and you want to get them to your rodeo. You want to be able to say you had them, and if these guys got 10 or 12 events to choose from, all of which are high paying, high prize money events, it becomes very, very hard to get them to your event for your fans. So, and it's better for the Cowboys. Spreading it out, doing this stuff not in from the 4th all the way through July. Like I said, the rope gets stretched here with physical things from the animals, all of the animals, to the contestants. You're talking about night after night of either driving overnight or competing, and that just takes a physical toll on the animals and the athletes. But then there's a whole mental side to that that wear, and the cream rises to the top. So yeah, I'm with you, Kendra.
Also, when I see Cowboys posting like seats on a charter, like this is going to cost you $2,000 to get on a seat, and then knowing if you do the quick math that if you win that rodeo, it's going to pay $1,500, then ah, you know,
Yeah, yeah, well, that's
that's
right.
so. But maybe when some of these day changes, maybe there can be less of that,
Yeah.
and fewer chances of people falling asleep at the wheel. By the way, stuff like that.
Well, this was a good show, fun little chitter and chatter. But I have to ask you something, Kendra. This was not in the show notes, which definitely scares you. Can you tell us, there's this one picture behind you propped up, just kind of propped up there. What is the picture?
That's Lane.
Oh, uh-huh. In front of the cameras. Is that after one of the Red Rock rides?
Yes, that's at
Oh,
that's at Reading. And you know, I this is super random. When I worked in the PRCA office, I got told one day that I had to take all my cowboy pictures down because it wasn't fair. And
hmm. So you
so
just started propping them up on the bureaus. The bureaus where the drawers are bigger than the chest. That's an old clown joke.
well, I love pictures, and so I love having pictures around, and sometimes I'll rotate them around. But yes, that was a couple of the ones I've had lately. Like I had a picture of Roy Cooper up behind me a couple weeks ago or whatever, and that was Lane. I took that picture up on stage a couple years ago when I accepted Lane being inducted into the Reading First Annual Hall of Fame on his family's behalf. I took that picture, and it's like I took a picture like that with me when Cody Ohl was trying not to die when he was inducted in Colorado Springs. And anyway, I just love, they make me happy, my friends and my family. So
It's an interesting placement of picture. Just right there on that old chest of drawers or bureau. Those are called bureaus. Well, anyway, if you're watching live, you'll see what we're talking about. If you're not on the podcast, you can visualize a large piece of furniture behind Kendra with a Lane Frost picture leaning against it.
it's called a hutch.
Oh, a hutch. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, so, hey, final thoughts? Anybody? Any final thoughts before we wrap up number 6-3?
Hey, something to go back what you were talking about earlier. Rank 45 is a
Yep.
brand owned by Boot Barn.
Ah, that's what I thought. But it's a Western. They got shirts
Western
and jeans
lifestyle,
and
yeah.
performance rodeo performance gear is what I read. But hey, they're putting dollars into X Bulls and X Bronx. Come on, rank 45.
The
Yeah.
first
some
time
shirts.
I ever heard of Rank 45 was courtesy of Rocker Steiner, by the way, who's a big boot barn guy. So this all comes together.
Makes sense. Well, everybody, thank you. Anything, Greg? Did you have two things?
Nope, just one.
Okay. Well, episode 63 comes to an end. All of you that believe that we should have ties are right. We should have ties. Always have ties. We should have a lot of ties. We should have more ties than we can ever have. So don't send us any more feedback on ties. Kendra wins. Whatever. I don't want to tie in the Super Bowl, but nobody cares. This was episode 63. This is No Spin Rodeo. Love all you fans. Thanks for listening to us. We'll try to put something together again for you next Tuesday. Until then, be safe. God bless you. Happy trails.